Late at night on a highway in northern Ontario, a woman driving her car is relieved to finally find a gas station that's still open, so she pulls in. The attendant comes out and walks up to the driver's side. He stands there, waiting until she rolls down her window. She slips it down just a crack. "How much?" he asks. She tells him to fill it up. The attendant walks towards the back of the car and stands there a minute. The woman waits, then looks into the side view mirror. The attendant is just standing there, facing her. She's feeling pretty nervous, wondering why he's not pumping gas. Then he walks back up to the window and taps on it. "You need to open the flap," he says. Feeling stupid, the woman reaches down and clicks the gas flap open. The attendant walks back and starts pumping the gas. A minute or so later he finishes and clicks the nozzle back into place on the pump. Then he stands there for a moment. The woman keeps looking at him in the side view mirror, feeling quite ill at ease. She doesn't like this, being alone at a tiny gas station in the middle of nowhere with only this stranger. The attendant then walks back up to the window and taps on it. She reaches into her purse and takes out her credit card, rolls open the window just a crack again, and as she passes the card through, looks up at the attendant. He's staring down at her with wide, frightful eyes. She looks away quickly, really creeped out, and she rolls the window back up as soon as the attendant grasps the card. But he doesn't go to the cash booth, he just stands there a moment. The woman can't bear to look at him again. Then the attendant says, "There's a problem with your card. Could you please step inside the cash booth?" "What's wrong with the card?" she asks, with a definite strain in her voice. "Something's wrong with the barcode. I'll need you to come over to the cash booth so we can make a call to the company." There's no way she is getting outside of her car on an empty dark highway late at night with only that gas attendant around. Besides, she realises, as a sudden chill comes over her, how could he know if there was a problem with the barcode if he hadn't even been to the cash desk to swipe it? The woman's breathing suddenly increases as she feels panic creep upon her. "Can you please just call them yourself?" she asks. "Sorry, but I'll need to see some ID. Could you please just step over to the booth? It'll only take a minute." Realising he won't let it be, reaches into her purse to check for cash. Yes, she has a $50 bill, clutching it in her hand as she unrolls the window just a crack again and passes it through. "Never mind, I'll just pay cash," she says. "Are you sure?" he asks. "Yes, I'll pay cash," she says. "I can fix the card problem, you just need to come over to the phone with me," he says. She's really terrified now, and half screams at the man. "Listen, it's cash, that's all you're getting from me." All right, he responds. "Now you just wait right here and I'll go and get your change. Don't move, I'll be right back." She can see him out of her peripheral vision, walking backwards towards the booth, always facing her. She can't bear to look in his direction. She can't imagine what he has in the booth. What if he brings it back with him? Forget the change, she thinks, just as she realises he also still has her credit card. She can't take this anymore. "Forget the card, I'll cancel it," she thinks to herself. She starts up the car, and as soon as it hums to life, she tears away and off into the dark night. The attendant is in his booth on the phone, breathing heavily. An official-sounding voice on the other end asks, "Did you tell her?" "No," the attendant responds. "I couldn't." "Why not?" the voice on the phone asks. "He had a knife and a finger to his lips. I tried to get her out of there, but the whole time he was watching me from the floor behind the seat." Every year for Christmas, I would drive upstate to my aunt's house along a stretch of highway. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of this road. All I know is that most of the drive is through rural areas with little to no towns nearby. It was the dead of night and my groggy self had gotten off a long shift and had to drag myself to my aunt's house since my extended family was expecting me the following morning. Near halfway through the drive I realised I was low on gas, which irritated me. My brother told me he had filled it up the day before, so either he forgot or he was lying. I saw an archaic looking sign for a gas station off the next road. It wasn't an official road sign, literally a pole with a slab of metal attached with "Gas off next exit" or something along those lines painted on it. That seemed a little sketchy, but people do the same thing with fruit stands on highways. I pulled off at the next exit on some dilapidated country road through dense woods. The whole thing was creepy and surreal. I kept expecting Leatherface to come running out of the trees with a chainsaw. Anyway, I eventually came to the gas station and realised quickly that it hadn't been open for years. It was all rusted and the convenience store roof was caving in. The gas pumps had all been taken out as well. I pulled over next to it and checked my gauge. I would probably make it another half mile before running out. So I called AAA and they said they'd send a truck over. Now I played the waiting game. I left my engine on because when the headlights were off everything was pitch black and my paranoid self wasn't sitting next to an abandoned gas station in the middle of a forest in complete darkness. So most of the wait was uneventful until I sensed movement around the side of the old store where my lights were pointed. I looked up but didn't see anything, so I looked back down at my phone. Then over the sounds of the night, I hear someone yell, "Hey buddy, come here," in a demanding tone. I look up and there's a dude standing by the old store, looking towards me, illuminated by my headlights. He looked like a run-of-the-mill homeless guy. I was honestly spooked and figured that he must have been squatting there. Still watching him, I rolled down my window and yelled something like, "Yeah, what's up?" I had my foot ready to floor it out of there at the first sign of trouble. "You got any change?" the man asked. "No, sorry, I don't," I replied. I look up at him. He has this kind of vacant expression and is standing there, still. Then I see more movement. There are heads, about 20 or so, peeking around the trees beyond the man I'm talking to. I can't see them clearly at all, but they are definitely people, just heads staring in my direction from around the trees. I see another guy beginning to walk from around the gas station, and then I sped off. I got as far away from that place as my tank would carry me, and updated AAA on my location. The driver came over and filled me up, and I didn't say anything. But after he left I wanted to call the cops, so I called the town's sheriff department. They said they'd send a trooper over and I gave them the location. When I got to my aunt's house, they called me back and said whoever was there was gone. But they could tell a large number of people had been living there for a while. Blankets, canned food, the usual. The whole situation still freaks me out. But frankly, I can consider myself lucky. I'll always have such a creepy story to tell. I'm just glad nothing bad happened. And to the creepy dudes at the gas station, let's not meet again. I was on a long drive. I left at midnight and drove straight through the night with two friends who were passed out sleeping in the back. It was probably around 4 AM and I had a quarter tank of gas left, which translates to about 100 miles. I see that the nearest town is about 90 miles away, so I'm pretty worried about making it. Before I hit that town, I ran into a tiny town that wasn't on the map. A few houses, a gas station, a convenience store, and that was about it. I walk into the gas station and hand the guy a $50 bill so I can fill up. He was a really tall, skinny guy, like skin wrapped around the bones level of skinny, probably at least 6'5", and he just had this eerie look about him. He looks at me, leans over the counter, scans the outside, and looks back at me. He hands me my $50 bill back and a hat and says, "Look, you look like a nice young fella. You don't want to be out here at this time of night looking like that. Put the hat on, get to your car quickly, and get gas at the next town." I was super confused and just said, "I don't have enough gas to get there. That's why I'm here. I didn't even know this place existed." He responds, "It doesn't. Here, there's 2 gallons left in this can. Just drive another 15 to 20 miles out and use those 2 gallons. But please, you need to move on now." At that point I stopped questioning him and left. On my return trip it was daytime, so I wanted to stop back in and return with the can with the 2 gallons in it. But wouldn't you know it, I couldn't find the little town. It's like it disappeared over the weekend. To this day, I refuse to stop in small towns that aren't on the map. I have no idea what that gas station employee was trying to save me from, but he pushed me out of there with some urgency, and even gave me free gas to do so. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I upload stories on a weekly basis, and please, sleep well.